We're going live. We're there, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. When the chips were down at Huddersfield Town and the players needed cajoling, encouraging, and setting on the correct path to redemption, two men with a close bond stood up, two masters of motivation, refinement, and diplomacy, and guided Huddersfield Town to safety. I am, of course, talking about Dale Marsden and Aaron Afsar. Not all heroes wear capes, gentlemen. So Huddersfield Town 2, West Brom 1, the result of the season that should hopefully see Huddersfield Town safe and banish the ghosts of 2001 and 1973. I'm Matt Shaw. With me today is Richard Kosmala with his Huddersfield Giants hat on. Brady Frost. Brady Frost in his very nicely decorated Christmassy looking front room. And back with the AMC ball, we have Neil, the Waponator Wayne, and this episode is sponsored by the brilliant Magic Rock Brewing, where if you check out online, you can get free delivery on orders over £40, which is good during these times of social distancing, as is their tap room at Home Firth, which is social distancing friendly, and hopefully there'll be more news on the one in Birkby soon. So, gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. 9 a.m. I'm half asleep, so forgive me if I nod off halfway. Having a 2-year-old sometimes can make sleeping tricky. So, first of all, a couple of surprises with the team selection. Mr. Willock on the wing, after being pretty poor during lockdown, decided to turn into a world beater against a team he had something to prove against. Kosi, Chris Willock stood up. Fantastic. What do you reckon?
Incredible, mate. I thought we'd signed a new player. I thought we'd got his brother. Was it a brother at Arsenal? But yeah, just what can you say about yesterday? It was incredible performance. It's amazing. I mean, you should always be proud of your football club and who you support. But we've had 2 seasons of pretty much misery. But this morning, and I just want to tell everyone I'm Huddersfield Town. I'm going to be wearing my gear and what have you and stuff. But it is. I like the fact as well. There were a bit of aggro knocking about, wasn't there? I mean, Stearman and I can't remember the guy with the elbow, but it felt like we were like David Wagner-esque, didn't we? We were getting stuck in. We were really up for it. It was totally alien to most of the performances since COVID and maybe all the season. And while I never saw the ending coming, I did enjoy what we were about yesterday. And we were battling, we were fighting. I thought O'Brien were outstanding, culminating in the stunning pass for the goal. And yeah, Chris Willock, it was incredible. He was unplayable, wasn't he, first 25, 30 minutes, and they didn't know what to think. Definitely, the fact that his West Brom employee must have had something to do with it, I thought. But it was, don't you just love a surprise in life? Everything's so predictable, isn't it? You know, Leicester won the Premier League, but everything else is just predictable. You know who's going to win everything, but that's probably why the bookmakers are so rich, because I know people will probably say, well, they could do. Let's be honest. We never thought that were going to happen. And it were unbelievable, really. And the ending, every good film needs a happy ending, and we got it, man.
All hugs and everything on the touchline, Brady. One player I think has been outstanding in the last 2 games as Kosi goes full Kurt Angle there and drinks his milk. The one player that I think has been really good, Brady, last 2 games, and he's maybe gone under the radar a little bit, but the back four in particular has been excellent. Trevoh Chalobah is receiving a lot of plaudits for his role at right back. But one man who's made a difference at centre back is Richard Stearman, who's come back in and he's been outstanding the last 2 games. What about this back four then? And Jonas Losel as well is after, maybe he should have come for that ball at Luton, and maybe he's feeling that he's let us down on that occasion, but he's been outstanding. The back four's been outstanding, and Huddersfield Town's success in post-lockdown has really been built from the back, hasn't it, Brady, with these clean sheets as well, although obviously we conceded one yesterday, which was offside, by the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I was really chuffed when we signed Stearman. I think he's that one who's going to jump for the headers and get a bit nasty, whereas Schindler would prefer not to do that. I think it's crazy, isn't it? I feel like we've kind of got like an established back four now. I think Chalobah, we've praised him quite a lot. It's been great at right back. But yeah, I mean, Stearman's kind of what you need in the Championship, isn't he? I mean, I think he did probably give away a penalty when he pushed Ian Garner in the face. But I thought he was solid. You know, he was up for it, and you know, he had that with like Kosi said, how Robson Kanu. There was like elbows going on, and you know, he got rattled. So yeah, it was. I think he's made a big difference. You know, he wasn't good when he came back from lockdown in that Wigan game, but let's be honest, who was? Yeah, and he's great. I think, you know, obviously a lot of questions in the summer about what the squad's going to be like and what we're doing going forward, but I'm glad we have someone like him at our club, someone who's going to, you know, get involved with the shithousery and, you know, rise up to people trying to push him around and giving it a bit back. It's what you want, isn't it?
It's 9 a.m., Brady. It's 9 a.m. You can't say these words. And it's not.
It's after 9. It's watershed. Don't matter if it's AM and PM.
I know we're at the breakfast shed at the minute. No, go on, Sharon. no, spot on with us. And Neil, a one-time winner of I think he was Whopper of the Week, not Danger Zone. Charlie Whopstin.
Whopper of the Week, yeah, Charlie.
Yeah,
Whopstin.
it's obviously. The last time he faced Jonas Lussley, kicked him in the face on purpose and broke his nose. So a few tears for Jonas then. So it was quite nice to have the boot on the other snout, so to speak, and him crying a little bit himself at the end. No, obviously no empathy for him really.
No, absolutely none. Bit of karma, but to be honest, he's one of those players that when he's against you, you can't stand him, but you'd love him in your team, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, of course you would.
He's just one of those horrible bastards who just puts his elbows
9 a.m.
But if they're up, they're in. Come on, it's yeah. It was just one of those. It was very satisfying yesterday. Like the lads have already said, Willock possessed. I mean, he hasn't shown any of that since the return from lockdown. As you say rightly about Stearman, last couple of games, he's come back in and been excellent. Showed what he's all about as proper championship muck and bullets centre half. Won't take any crap, and you can't old man an old man. I think Robson Kanu tried it yesterday and came off second best. And they were a bit naughty with a few things. I mean, in first half there were one where Sawyer's tried to take out. Well, he did, didn't he? He took Campbell out in box.
Yeah, whacked him, didn't he?
So it's a pen, you know. It's a referee. Difficult for him to see that. And linesman, to be fair, could have just looked like a stumble. But yeah, definite pen. That bit naughty. They give as good as they got, and overall, I think it shows you that Cowleys have talked a lot about having possession, and we've had 60-70% of this and that and other. Yesterday, it built on other foot, and we let them off ball, and it worked in our favour because they look nervous. They look really, really nervous. If proper West Brom turned up yesterday, going by what we've seen in previous 7 lockdown games, they'd have done us. I fear them. I mean, me and Kosi were talking before the game, and I went 0-3, I'll be honest. I just couldn't see how else. But then when you see Town, that's all we're bothered about, isn't it? I put a tweet out last night that all we want is them to show that they care. And even if it's only for 90 minutes on a Saturday and rest of the week they're not bothered, you know, for 90 minutes on a Saturday, show us that you're wearing that shirt with a bit of pride and want it like we do. And fair play to a man yesterday, coaching staff and players, they all gave us everything and fully deserved. It was fully deserved win.
Nailed it. 30% possession, mate. Possession's overrated, isn't it?
Yeah. That's like I said to you yesterday, because there's only one stat that counts, and it's one that's in top corner of the screen, isn't it? And the odds were higher than theirs, and that is all that matters. And we got the result that I thought the performance yesterday deserved. You know, it's not all about passing it 18 times around back every time you get it, is it? It's about using the ball well when you do get it. And the lads played yesterday like they cared, and that is literally all we ask for. That's all we want.
It's weird, isn't it? I mean, when I remember saying to you, because obviously watched it together when it showed the teams, and you looked at their midfield 5 and ours, and I thought, oh my word! I remember, I think I sent a message to someone saying, God, it looks a mismatch. But how wrong can you be? I thought O'Brien were absolutely outstanding. Obviously, you mentioned there, you know, Willock, really good again. Johnny Ogg let no one down. He was really good. I just wondered at 1-1 whether, I mean, you obviously knew they were going to kind of trying to come at us, but apart from a little, probably 5 minutes in the second half where I thought, oh, it's just inevitable. It didn't. I don't think it really materialised the onslaught as well. But having said that,
never arrived, did it?
No,
it never arrived. Which was, I think that was probably the biggest surprise at day, to be honest. Apart from us winning.
Yeah.
But even the goal that they got shouldn't have stood. I mean, now that's not flagged offside. There were actually 3 of them off. Lado put it inward off as well. So it's an awful decision. And so many times we see those decisions go against us. And Town previously, even just in this lockdown spell, you could see having a bit of a wobble and a collapse in a team like West Brom. Because when they scored the lead up to half-time, then you just wanted half-time, didn't you? Because you could see them visibly growing confidence and you're thinking they might get enough for it. And then you can't see a way back. But we held out till half-time and came out and put in a good performance. I mean, there's a lot of players. Let's not get too excited. It's a good win. Looks like we're staying up. But that don't mask over what's been an incredibly poor season. And there's a lot that needs to change at this football club between now and whenever the season starts again, at the end of August, September. There's a lot that needs to change. This one result doesn't all of a sudden shine a golden light over everything that it's all great, because it isn't. And after watching that yesterday, there's one player that you really do not want to lose. And I think we'll get offers in for him. Lewis O'Brien, I thought he was absolutely outstanding yesterday. And on the goal, that Pereira who plays for them, top class footballer. But when O'Brien got nudged in the lead up to the goal, Pereira would have gone for a Tom Daly, wouldn't he? Whereas O'Brien stays on his feet, plays a brilliant ball through, and Smith Rowe did what Smith Rowe does, and we were crying out for him, weren't we, because yesterday to get him on.
Oh, we were, yeah.
But even with a pass or anything, he's the one who is our genuine match winner. So to see him come on with a bit of and you could see players visibly lifted by that as well. You're bringing on your best player, and
do you think it's just because of tiredness, or whether it was just kind of maybe that kind of game? But there was so many free kicks given away by both teams, and I think there's been a lot of that since the restart, and it was so frustrating. Yeah, it was offside, Neil, even though at first I was thinking maybe it's not, but it's like, don't give them that opportunity. We'd done it 2 or 3 times before, and you're just thinking, no, don't do it. I mean, they did it first ridiculous with the challenge on, was it on Toffel? I can't remember. It was in it.
Bacuna, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry.
Was it Bacuna?
Yeah, Bacuna, yeah. That was just mindless as well. But, I mean, to be fair, our first goal, Willock took it well, didn't he? Because you wouldn't say he's normally an instinctive player. He's not like a...
No, and it was a difficult night, wasn't it? It wasn't straightforward.
Keeper had a stinker there, didn't he, in that one, though? What were they thinking?
He had a Ben Hamer, didn't he?
Is that what it's called now? But the goal, I mean, the winning goal was sensational. That Texan doing that, it just looked a classy goal, just kind of bit bereft of what we've seen for most of the season, really. And there's some lovely photos, weren't there, last night? I obviously saw it on the website. It mattered, didn't it? And that as well. And I suppose big kudos for Cowley, really. Obviously, kind of not being in love with the guy, kind of much recently, but balls of steel, dropping the front four from the last game, or you'll probably say resting or what have you. That could have backfired big time.
It could have backfired, but would it be classed as backfired when you couldn't hit a cow's ass for a banjo for 4 or 5 games? Something needed to change, didn't it? And fair play to him. And Willock showed it yesterday. Willock showed yesterday what we thought would signed. It were, that's the kind of player you want to see, somebody who's brave enough to have a go and get round people. And that run he went round 4 or 5. We couldn't tackle him because they're in box. Lays off a bloody awful pass. And he thinks, just really, that pass would have been spot on with a chance at goal again. And we created more in the first half yesterday than we have done for about 6 games altogether.
Matt, what stood out for you yesterday compared to some of the other games? Because it just felt very different, didn't it? Especially as obviously we got the early goal, but it just felt different for me.
Felt like more of a plan. I think, our mate Stephen Chicken often writes, if you sit off Town and you give us too much of the ball, then we look ponderous with it, whereby if teams attack us and come at us and we need less passes to get to the other end of the pitch, we look better. And I think there's a lot of truth in that if teams sit off and don't let us get in behind and get in the pockets, then we don't really have the Aaron Moy style playmaker anymore to make things happen in the middle of the pitch. But O'Brien made that great pass yesterday, but you wouldn't necessarily class him as a creative player,
no,
per se. But I think when the game's open, that's when we look a lot more threatening. We've got pace. Willock in general, Campbell's not a slouch, you would say. He does a lot of hard running up there, creates a lot of space for people. His goal scoring record's poor. We know that, 3 in 32 or whatever it is. But yeah, for me, it's quite simply if we're given the space and if we can get in those pockets, especially in front of the opposition back four, then we look a half decent side. But I think a lot of teams have sussed out that if you give us the ball and sit off us, then we're not particularly that good. And like Neil said, some things need addressing over the summer, and that's probably one of them in terms of a player who can be a bit deeper than an Emile Smith-Rowe type and do a bit more.
I want to ask the guys out there, comment, Emile Smith-Rowe, where does he stand in Huddersfield Town loan signings in your kind of watching history? Where does he stand? I want people's comments here and that. So I mean, Steve Harper will be trotted out and numerous others. But Neil, what a player, mate. And the best thing about it is he's another one. I mean, Arsenal could have been arsy about it. Couldn't have kind of sent him back after, the so-called season finished. He looks like he loves playing for Huddersfield Town. The joy on his face when he scored the goal. Brilliant finish.
Christmas final whistle, wasn't it?
Oh,
it just absolutely beaming at end of the game, and that's what you want to see in it. And the lad is a massive talent. He's going to have a career in it. We've seen lone players come before. We've sort of had cult hero ones like Undlove came and had that spell and were top class. Leon Knight is the one that probably stands out for me highly as a top loan signing. Absolute nutter, but a great player. Steve Harper, yeah, obviously. Ben Thornley. But Smith-Rowe, just a footballer, isn't he? He's up there quality level with when we had Chilwell on loan. Obviously different positions, but he's that good for me. Brady,
where does he stand in your HTFC loan pecking order?
Trying to get that flying. Well, in recent seasons, top notch. I mean, I for the site, I wrote an article about him, and got a couple of friends who are Arsenal fans, and they spoke really highly of him. I just think what really impresses me is how direct he is, and for what is he, 19? He rarely seems to make the wrong decision, and it's just so impressive. And I was saying to you, Kosi, before we started this, like, if we had him all season, I do think he's that difference. Like I can't think of anyone else in our squad who offers that creativity and is direct and runs at people. And like you say, I'm really chuffed that he seems so pleased when he scored, and he's celebrating with the team, and he's happy to be here. And I'd love if we could get him next season. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. But
I remember that first game, Brady, at Fulham. If you catch your mind back down there, like we lost the game, but that was one of them where you thought, wow, you are watching a proper player here. Did you remember that game? I just walked out of the ground thinking, wow, with this guy, anything's possible. And it's just why you love football, isn't it? I mean, God, I'm not saying Leo Messi, because people are going to say out the small guy who runs through kind of defenders and stuff, but you can't help not to love him. I mean, I mentioned the other week that tweet I put out about him, I can't remember which game it was, but Arsenal fans grabbed all of it. It were like 1,000 likes and 600 retweets. They must have seen obviously what he's done in the academy and the future. I just hope he kind of lives up to the billing. I mean, we got Ben Chilwell right, didn't we? He's been sensational, I think he's another one that we didn't kind of mention, but
if he's managed right and he has the right desire, he can be whatever he wants. He's just got it, hasn't he? He's just got it. I mean, that finish yesterday was not an easy finish. O'Brien pinged that pass through to him, one touch out of his feet, and he didn't break net. He just put it in space where the keeper couldn't get it. And it's a brilliant goal. Certainly, it got a bit of a cheer in our garden here, didn't it, mate?
Your birthday as well, Neil, wasn't it? What a present, man.
Absolutely. I've never seen Town play on my birthday before, obviously with it being in July, so to get that and to win like that, yeah.
Well, what a way to celebrate your 60th, mate. Absolutely outstanding. well done. Matt, he's carried on again, Trevor Chalobah. I mean, we talked about him on was it Wednesday when we did the pod, but he just slotted in seamlessly, really. I mean, my only worry about him yesterday was he maybe getting a red card because, I mean, the referee were a bit of a weapon, wanting pretty much all game, but I were a bit worried that second challenge that he had. I thought, when he was kind of pushing the guy, I thought, what is he doing? But the way he's going, I mean, there's only one more game, but who knows? I think if he didn't sign, I wouldn't be devastated, but I'd be pleased if he did, I think, for another year.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd get him back next season. I think the thing is as well, because he's so versatile, like we can play him in midfield as well. We can play him as centre back if you want to do it as a free. And he's got the height and he's direct, like he'll run at players, and it's good from the back. So I'd keep him. I think for me, most improved player this season, really. Considering
to be fair, we don't need him though, do we? Because we've got Flo coming back at the end of the season, haven't we?
God, yeah. There's so many guys coming back that you forgot that exist, don't you? You don't want to spoil it now, Neil. We've just had a positive kind of start to this podcast and that as well. But
the only thing that surprises me is that this is going to probably sound really shitty, but they get sort of talked about a lot for great coaching and spotting stuff and what have you. But we've gone through signing Danny Simpson on an absolute fortune. Why didn't anybody realise that Trev could play there a while ago? And why hadn't he been playing there for the last 6 months?
It's a big question, isn't it? Matt, what are people saying out there, mate? Is anyone watching, by the way? Because it's quite early in luscious Liversidge. Oh, can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear us.
No, God, I'll have to read a few comments out on that as well. But...
Are you talking to me? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, what are people
Sorry,
saying out there?
Zoom keeps, my Zoom connection keeps dropping in and out all the time on speeding and slowing up.
That's what you get for living in Leeds, mate,
I know, fireworks going off all over the place. So thanks to everyone who's watching and chipping in. So we've got, we've got Ted Chippington in the room, so that's an unintentional pun. A couple of people, Pete Collins said, I told you guys we beat West Brom, didn't we? And he did actually, sat here and said the other day. Said,
never in doubt, Pete.
So
never in doubt, Pete.
I read that and thought he'd lost the plot, to be honest. So well done, mate.
Hope you had some money on it, Pete.
Yeah, so Dom Lister's praising the job the Cowleys have done. Lee Oates as well. Said they got it spot on yesterday with their tactics. In terms of the loans, Aaron Moy was one I was going to say. He was on loan, wasn't he, when he came? He was head and shoulders above any loan I think we've ever had. Izzy Brown, Casey Palmer. I would probably put. To be fair. Yeah, I would probably put Izzy Brown above Emil Smith Rowe as well. I think in terms of output.
Big call.
But yeah, there's a few coming through. Dag Barnett, obviously. He's a man who knows quality. He mentions Des Hamilton, who was a quality loan player.
Michael Johnson. Michael Williams. Sorry, Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Michael
Johnson's a runner. Yeah, Michael. And there was an Andy Williams who was awful in midfield, wasn't there? And then there was another Williams who played left back who was okay.
There's no Ronnie Robinson, no Matt.
No, Dodge. That season we had so many bad left backs, didn't we? Anyway, we've moved on. So we've got a lot coming through. Christian Kudarenko says, who's he talking about here? Aaron Moy, about his football brain being impressive, or Emil Smith Rowe even. And he's always on the half turn to face forward. A class player. We can only hope we can get him back next season on a long-term loan. And Pete Collins says he got 11 to 4, 50 quid on. So beers are on you, Pete, as well, I think. And yes, Dale Marsden's in the room as well.
Dale, you've got to tell us about this. Come on, man.
Dale Marsden.
The absolute hero of the hour, Dale Marsden, says a brilliant response last night. Just a bit of fight. All down to you, mate. Just a bit of fight and pride for the shirt is what we've wanted all season. It's been lacking. A massive relief to have more or less stayed up. Rebuild starts now. And Terrier 7-2, Mike. He wanted the live stream started immediately after kickoff last night, but he said Cali made comment about if we beat QPR, it's our highest finish apart from the promotion season. That speaks quite a lot about the job they've done as well. I think, beat Millwall, he says, and we finish potentially could finish 16th, but that depends on the results, and that's what the Cowleys are going for.
Someone tweeted, Matt. Someone tweeted me today. I don't know how true it is, but there's no one ever stopped up after the start that we had.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Brady, I've said it so many times, but we were in such a mess at that point, weren't we? Sheffield Wednesday kicked us backside. I think we got a draw against Millwall, but to stay up with one game ago, I know you shouldn't be kind of breaking the champagne out, but it's quite achievement from the Carla brothers, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like we've talked about it so many times. Like, 1 point after 8 games? Like it's nearly quarter of the season, and I think the Cowleys have got a lot of stick in the last couple of weeks. I mean, Luton, yes, fair enough, but they've done what we've asked of them, and it's difficult. And we've talked about this. It's, Schindler and Hogg, they were great players, and I think that's a mentality thing and a confidence thing. And I think that's throughout the squad, to be honest. But yeah, like I say, I wanted Cowleys as the first choice, and I think they've done what was asked of them. It's been difficult circumstances. Obviously, we've had the pandemic. I think, given how we were going before the pandemic as well, I think we would have been safer a lot sooner. That's what I think anyway. And I feel good. I feel good with them. I know we've talked about the Cowleys style and how we've not really seen that because it is kind of a needs must. But I think if they get the right backing and the right support, I think they'll do a good job. And I see us kind of going. Hopefully they get the players in that they want, and I can kind of see us going up, not up promotion, but climbing up the table and playing hopefully some good stuff. Like Neil said, you want people giving it their all for Town, on a Saturday, and we saw that yesterday. And I think they get the right players in, and more players who will do that, like your Stearmans, and a bit of creativity and flair as well. I only see positive things. We wouldn't have got Smith Rowe if Cowley wasn't the boss. That's his connections at Arsenal, and I think they're young and up and coming managers, and they've won everywhere they've been. I know we're a bit different here, but I think the fact that they've done this, is testament to. I'd struggle to think any other manager who could pick us up and keep us safe, given the start we had this season.
Brady, I love the fact, mate, that you've got a couple of arrows pointed up, just especially for the in the background. Extra.
What it does show is that the sacking of Jan Seaver couldn't have come any later. Bear in mind, we're just about scraped up with a game left. If they left it another couple of weeks and you play another couple of games, you're out of time, aren't you?
Big time.
That's the fine line.
Matt, we saw life without Carl Grant last night for 65, 70 minutes. Do you think that's how it's going to be? Life without Carl Grant, Huddersfield Town next year? I'll put you on the spot, mate. That's a big call. I mean, there's been a few people.
I thought you said Karen Grant for a second then. I think he goes in the summer. Yeah, he's scored enough goals. Got himself a good enough reputation. A lot of the goals are penalties and set pieces, but they all count at the end of the day. 18 goals is it this season that he's got? He may end up on 20, and if you get in and around 20 goals, then you're gonna have a lot of people that are going to be interested. For me, he's always been a Premier League finisher, but a League One footballer in many senses of the phrase. But I think goal scorers are so rare and such a precious commodity, if you like, that there's definitely going to be interest for someone who can put the ball in the back of the net. Because at the end of the day, as they always say, it's the hardest thing to do, and he's very good at it. So I would imagine that it'll have to be a very sort of niche setup for him to succeed. One that could service him and not have him running the line by himself, etc. But I would imagine that he'll go in the summer. But I'd be quite comfortable with that if we could rebuild that front line so there's more goals shared out rather than being set up to service one player in particular.
Neil, will we be singing He's Electric come, it'll be October if Boris gets his way, but will we be singing that next season?
No, not for Carl Grant anyway. So unless we sign somebody else from Charlton, you're done. But not a prayer easy next season. And I think he's one of those that has visibly looked disinterested, if we're being honest. I know we're still trying to be positive and talk about, yes, it's been a great night, but you've got to look at the 8 games we've played since we've come back, a couple of penalties. He's looked completely disinterested to me. And it's as much as he scores goals, it's really, really hard to get behind somebody like that who's pretty much, you can see he's already got one. Well, I think he's got 1.5 feet out at the door. He's just ready to go hold the handle and close it behind him. Innit? He's done. But if you flip that round a bit, cost us £2 million. We're going to get a lot more than that for him. So overall, been a good signing. And it's just one of them, innit? Go crack on. He'll do the same somewhere else. Good luck with him. But it's all about Huddersfield Town.
Another one for you, Neil. So let's be honest, mate. You tweeted from the pod account last night, about Andy King. It wasn't us. It was you. Obviously, we had a first half like that. What prompted you to say that? Is it something that we're getting on your go, Andy King, or did it just stand out for you? Because quite a few people said the opposite. To be honest,
I think Standout was probably the opposite to what I think he's done since he signed. To be honest, I just think he's been anonymous for somebody who's won Premier League. Less 4 years ago. He's just he's been anonymous, little bits of tidy stuff. But I expected him to come in and with the quality he's got and his background, I expected him to come in and really grab games and stand out. Let the enforcers do the honourable stuff and give him ball and let him play, and a few goals from distance that he's known for. And he's just been poor. I mean, to be fair, if we hadn't seen the team last night, we were talking about this watching it, weren't we? If we hadn't seen the team last night, it's got to half time. You don't know he's playing. And I know the people have seen stuff and thought he's had a good game last night and whatever else. It's all opinion, innit? That's all it is. We're not here to fall out with people. It's just, my opinion is we can do a lot better, and he's been pretty poor in my opinion. So I don't think he'll be getting renewed. Goodbye and good luck. Not for me.
Brady, Andy King, stay, go for you, or not really an opinion, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Neil. I thought when we signed him, I was like a good experienced pro. That's kind of what we need. And he's not really done much. And, he didn't really get a start at Rangers earlier in the season. And I don't think he'll want cheap wages either. And I think if we're being honest, I don't think he's done anything to deserve. I know he's out of contract, but I don't think he's really done anything in the Township. Unfortunately, he's not made that key pass or anything like that. I suppose it was good to see O'Brien in the number 10 role at the start, and I suppose that's having someone like King. But we've talked about it. There's going to be loads of free agents out there. We'll see what the transfer window's like, but I think, you could get someone else. He's not done enough in the Township to justify signing him.
Tell you one thing I want your opinion on, guys. So I know what you're going to say anyway, but I'm still going to ask it. Last night's goal was a debacle, and who knows, that might have cost us a place in the Championship. Maybe a bit exaggeration there. Obviously, VAR's not been the best. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Would you want VAR in the Championship?
That's fine. It's the idiots that use it. Simple as that.
Therein lies the problem. It's all right having technology, but it's got to be implemented correctly. Goal line technology is good because it's instant and it's
done by a computer, not a human.
Factual,
that's my issue.
The problem with VAR is it's still opinion. So you're always going to get opinions that don't match. I mean, the penalty that Man U got the other day, come on, have a day off. How can anybody see that as a penalty? And like last night, it would have been flagged offside. But overall, I'll be honest, I much prefer natural human error from the officials on the pitch by going and judging it, and the big pause for. I mean, it's spoiled Premier League for me. When you watch games there, I mean, I very, very rarely watch any Premier League football now. I didn't really watch that much other than us when we were there, to be honest, because all the VAR stuff and the technology and what have you, it's just not. It's not for me. I know a lot of people like it and think it can improve the game, but it can only improve the game if it's done right. And VAR is so far from being done right; it's unreal. Not for me. It's no.
I think the thing is as well. Just look how we're using it in England compared to other countries. We're the ones who seem to be having the most issues with it. I know it's the first season, but I do think certainly in the Premier League, I've found there is a kind of a bit of an arrogance with the refs, and like you say, it's all opinion. Whereas Germany have used it for a couple of years now, and like America, MLS and stuff, they use it, and there's not as half as many problems. Like you say, the issue is people saying, "Oh, it's an elbow or it's a big toe offside," and it's like, well, that no one wanted VAR for that. That's not what it was used for. It's to use for people who were miles offside, not people who were,
That's how it spoils itself there, Brady. You've absolutely nailed it in that, you're getting offsides because somebody's elbow is over the line. Which is rubbish anyway, because you can't score with your arms, so that shouldn't count. But here, a heel offside or a toe.
Yeah.
Garbage. That ain't offside. There's no way that's offside.
It's like what you say though, Neil. It's not. It's always going to be debate. I mean, like that Fraser Campbell thing. That when he got kind of kicked in the first half when he was running through and in the box, and again, there's so many things. I mean, that you couldn't really fault the linesman. I suppose maybe you could for the goal that they got, but if it was all about, was Lossell's vision impeded, I think it was a tough one to kind of call.
It started was they made it very loud about clear and obvious. That's what they kept saying, clear and obvious. And there's so much of it that's still beyond grey. It's just not for me. I just don't like it. And football's about passion and excitement, and it's if everything's going to get stopped because we need to just check if somebody's back toe were offside, or come on. If somebody's made a certain run, I mean, there were one, and I can't remember what team it was, and it were flagged. It were given offside by VAR, even though his feet were behind because of, I think it were Norwich actually, and it were that Pookie, and because of how he'd made the run, the top half of his body,
I remember that, yeah,
was classed as offside, but his feet were behind. How was that offside? That's perfect timing on a striker's run for me. So to give stuff like that because his head's beyond that line, nah, they've got to use common sense when they're doing it, and unfortunately there's very little of that with officials in England.
Well, that's it. That's not what it's for, was it? It was, it was for people handballing it blatantly in the box. It was for dirty challenges that go unmissed. I think that's the issue with it. I think VAR could be better and be improved. I mean, I'm not going to, given how we've used it in England, I'm not going to rush to say, it should be in the Championship. But I think that's the thing. It's like Matt said, like Neil said, like we've all said, it's not necessarily VAR, it's how it's being used. That's the issue. Back
to Tam, Matt. So Richard Stearman, interesting character, this guy, isn't it? Because I think he's one of those, when he's bad, he's very bad. But I think he's been pretty good, to be honest, since he's been with us. He seems to care. And I do like the fact, oh God, I didn't swear there, but I do like the fact he gets raged. Like
Kosi is the
craze, yeah.
I'm a fan, then.
Yeah, I do like the fact he gets a bit raged. And yesterday, I thought, it could spill over, did that? Because he kind of dropped the elbow and what have you on him and stuff. But I'm a bit of a fan. When we talk about no leaders, I see one there. Maybe he could be our captain, or I don't know. But he's a guy I think we can build on. I know he's going to not get any younger, but he does seem to be, he still looks after himself. I'm a fan.
Needs a haircut though, doesn't
he? Neil's right. His hair's terrible.
Matt, have you been impressed with him?
Stearman, on and off. It looks. I agree with Neil. His hair's a shocker. He looks like the Doc from Back to the Future, a younger version, doesn't he? So he needs to. He needs to get. Could do a kit release in front of Huddersfield train station, couldn't you, with a DeLorean? But he's done well. He's done well for the most part. He's a good character, like you say. He's quite solid. He plays out from the back well. That's a plus as well. He's comfortable on the ball. I think he's done quite well, mate.
He's one that you'd kind of build around. But how good does it feel to be safe for your game to go? Because we'll always be haunted by Birmingham 2001. We will, won't we? Town don't do last days very well, do they? And I think that's the good thing now. We can kind of watch the game on Wednesday and God knows what team he'll put out. But
it would have been horrific to rock up away at Millwall, possibly chasing a playoff place, needing to get. Yeah, not for me. There's only one winner there.
Would you message then, lads? Sorry to do your job, because would you message inside on Wednesday? Like, because I saw some people saying, it'd be good to play Daly or Scott Hyde. I don't know. Would you change it up?
I think it'd have been good to play them starting 9 games ago. To be honest, I think we've missed a trick over this spell by not including the fact that Daly and Hyde have got nowhere near bench. Other than I think Daly been on bench once, has he? The fact that they can't get in a 20-man match day squad is pretty damning, to be honest. It's really, really surprised me and disappointed me with some of the lacklustre stuff that we've seen. I would have liked to see them, and let's be fair, Daly's breakthrough, he was down at Charlton in a horrible game. I mean, that really was a dire game of football. And then he's popped up with a winner just when he wanted it, last kick at game, took it really well. We haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think he's deserved more of a chance, especially when it's been as bad as it has been. But next season, I'd like to see him. You won't see him Wednesday. I think he'll just stick with rolling out the 20. I think he'll probably give the likes of maybe Kachunga, Kwana, etc., who are going to be going. I think they might get a game if they want to play. But I'll be completely honest. I don't care what team he puts out on Wednesday now. Not bothered. Doesn't matter, does it?
Slaven Bilic seemed to be friends with a lot of our team, didn't he? I wondered, like in the second half, that was a weird one, wasn't it? Where we were waiting to come out. I think we were taking his time, and I thought he was going to go down there and start kicking off. But then he went over to Stankovic. No, he went over to Stankovic, and I think they smiled. So I don't know if he kind of knew they knew each other from kind of teams in the past and stuff. But no, he's not a man I'd want to kind of mess with, really. And he seems. I like Slaven Bilic. I'll always remember that. Obviously, the McLaren Waller with the Brolly game pouring down at Wembley, where he were there, wanted no problem. I think he did a jumper, just like look at crack on that kind of thing.
He's one of those as a fan you can get behind, isn't he? He's got that bit of he's got that passion and that bit of needle about him, and that bit of the stuff that we've been missing. That bit of bastard, we've been missing that off and on pitch, and you need that. And I think that's one thing I really would like to see us doing. Someone is sign a couple of players who are probably less than popular with opposition, but the ones who, as a fan, you can really, really get behind and love them because they're horrible.
Matt,
that's what we need.
Matt, any comments coming through on what we're chatting rubbish about?
Mate, I can barely hear you lot with the way this stream's going for me over here. But yeah, there's a few. I personally am not that. I'm not surprised that the young ones haven't been thrown in. I think Cowley said at one point it's not the time for young players, and I kind of agree with that. I don't think I know there's the 20-man squad, but I don't think some of them are ready really to go in. But personal opinions. The other comments that come through, the tailing off a little bit. Andrew Rand says he's heard Rangers want Daly. Ponty Terrier says I would have played Daly in High Wednesday, but not against Millwall because they'll get bullied. Lee Oates has also said rumour is Daly's heading to Rangers. I've not heard or seen that one, to be honest, so that's a new one on me. Lee Oates says we definitely need to invest in a new goalkeeper. Would like Lossell back, but I can't see that happening. No, I think the number 2 at Everton might have been released, so that could make Jonas the permanent number 2 there. And Pete Collins says, is it Christmas at Brady's house?
It is not. I mean, it felt like Christmas after Smith Rowe. But,
last night.
Nice recovery. Yeah.
Matt, I don't know why I set myself up. So I sent a 2-minute voicemail to Brentford fans why there were no chance whatsoever we were going to do them a favour last night. So I've had a few texts this morning and they are bricking it, excited. They're washing machine stomachs. Where do you see the automatic promotion race now? Because all of a sudden, Brentford have had no real pressure on them. And today they go to Stoke. The pressure is on the bees now. I'd love them to do it, but who's going to do it?
Well, I'll stick my neck out and say one of them's already up. But Brentford have got the momentum, haven't they? But now all of a sudden that psychology switches. The chaser, they've been the chaser for so long, and now all of a sudden they've chased somebody down and they've got to overtake. And it's that mental side, isn't it? Whereby it's okay chasing if you like, but all of a sudden it's a different pressure for overtaking. I think West Brom deserved to go up
last night, Matt, didn't they?
West Brom. I watched West Brom against Fulham, and I was saying on the last podcast, West Brom looked nervous. They looked really nervous and tentative, and I thought they did last night. Brentford will be interesting because Stoke are not quite safe yet, although I think they seem to think they are. So I think it just depends.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, I just think it just depends if Stoke feel that they're safe. But I would say that if Brentford win today, they'll go up. But there's only 2 games left, so it's not like I'm sticking my neck out far on that one.
I'd absolutely love to see them go up. We've had I mentioned it on Twitter, and somebody replied that they're gutted to miss the away day there because it is one of the best away days you can have. But I just think to see a club like Brentford, and I don't mean that with any disrespect whatsoever. I'm one of these who love to see your Brentfords and Towns and Bournemouths and whoever else get in Premier League and have a go and mix it with big boys. I think, if you've earned that right, you deserve to be there. And they have been up there, probably with Leeds as the 2 best footballing sides in division.
There's too much arrogance and snobbery at that top level as well, Neil. You know,
Absolutely,
I don't think.
yeah.
I want Preston to go up. I want Brentford to go up.
Yeah,
but the only problem maybe that you could have is Brentford won't get the same amount of crap that we got for not belonging there because they're a London club, so people look at them because they're London, so they won't get half the slaver we have, and Bournemouth don't get much either. And I hope Bournemouth come down, to be honest, because I just don't particularly.
They will still get the amount of your Danny Murphys who just don't know names that players are meant to.
We talk about our club needing a sweep out, a clean sweep of personnel out. The media itself needs an even bigger sweep because there are so many cretins that talk about a game without knowing the first thing about what they're talking about. I'm talking
like us,
us, yeah, but we don't get paid for it. But I'm talking about people like Danny Murphy and Chris Sutton and Danny Mills and idiots like that who are an absolute disgrace to their profession. But personal opinion.
I love it, Matt. I love it.
It's not just your opinion, mate. It's bang on.
No, absolutely. I mean, going back to Brentford, though, I think they'll do it. I think they're a well-run club as well. In a lot of ways, I'd want Cat Town to be similar. Their scouting network's incredible. Pick up players on the cheap, sell them like Malpay, sell loads for 20 million. I think they play nice football. They've got some good players, and I do think West Brom. I was beating them last night. They did look nervous. I mean, like we say, Austin was crying at the end.
Brady
into the playoffs, and then when you've been in the top two. I mean, they've been in the top two since October. To drop out last minute and then go into the playoffs.
They do deserve it a little bit, the West Brom, don't they? I think.
They do. But yeah, I think if they drop into the playoffs, I don't see them winning it.
Brady, they've been their academy, and controversially. Obviously, we followed. Do you think that's kind of got anything to do with it? I mean, it's a bit early, maybe to.
Brentford.
Yeah, maybe. Is there a message there for anyone?
I think, well, potentially. I suppose it's if your academy's doing well. I think they've got really good scouting networks, and obviously they're into their sports science and all the data insight on players, and they work with a lot of analytical companies to get the stats on players.
They travel a lot, don't they, and go abroad to play a lot of competitive football for under 21s, under 23s, etc.
Yeah,
and foundation there.
They're solid. I mean, like you said, they buy cheap, they sell Malpay for like 20 million, and Watkins, who was a winger, they turned into a striker. I'd love Town to have a system like that. I think we've got a lot of young players who have been tipped a lot, but. Yeah, potentially, Kosi, to be I suppose roundabout way of answering your question, potentially, but I do think you need the right people. I do think they use the analytical data side well. And that's not everything. Obviously, you need your scouting, but you need both. And I think more clubs are going to use the data as well as your scouts. And I'm surprised, to be honest, more clubs don't do it at the moment because, it's working well for Brentford. It works well for the top clubs. And yeah,
Matt,
get on board with it.
The big game of the day, though, well, I suppose Brentford fans would argue and West Brom, what have you, but just down the M62 East, Clive Sullivan Way, turn left, get your chip spice, get in the ground.
We deep rather than the football there, mate.
We can be chilled, can't we, about it now? But what Hull, as no surprise after what happened, is their fans are on an absolute downer. Luton, probably Hull will win knowing football, but how do you see that one going today?
Not bothered now. After we won last night.
Great insight. This is why we got the great analysis there.
I don't know. Hull seem really down, but you kind of half expect a response, from an 8-0 thrashing. You kind of think if they don't respond now, they never will. But they've only won one game, haven't they, since New Year's Day? So Luton, I thought they would kick on.
Luton do a job on them like they did on us.
I thought they might kick on a bit, Luton, and beat QPR, but they didn't. So I think it'll either be a draw or a sneaky Luton win. I think Luton might sneak up, to be honest.
Yeah, the Blackburn last day, they'll win that.
Yeah, I think they've got an outside chance. Well, not even an outside chance. I think they've got a good chance of staying up, Luton.
Yeah. No, it's going to be an interesting day, but it's going to be beautiful for us because we can be chilled and be excited, for next season, really. So I suppose before we close, unless you've got any comments, Matt, just to kind of go around everybody. Neil, we're safe. He's been tough to watch. Probably not enjoyable. We've had 2 seasons, let's be honest, of pretty much misery. How do you feel as a Town fan this morning, kind of with your crystal ball, knowing a new season starting September? We've got a lot of work to do, mate, haven't we?
Thank God this one's over, to be honest, because it has been. We've had 2 years of dire, turgid, inept, everything from top to bottom. It's been bloody awful, depressing, being in games and going one down and knowing you're done. That was bad enough in Premier League, but this season's it made it feel even worse. So just relieved, and end of the day, looking forward. They've pulled out a result last night, decent performance, but I think watch this space because a lot will change over the summer. A lot.
Ooh, interesting.
That's
Matt,
more of a crystal ball than an AMC ball you've got there, Neil, I think.
Matt, similar views to Neil?
Yeah, look, I think we've realised, haven't we, that things have got to change. If we carry on doing the same thing, then we'll just have a similar season again. I don't think anybody wants that. I don't think, from speaking to Phil, I don't know Phil personally, despite what some might think because he's on the podcast a few times. But I don't know him. But the impression I get from Phil is that he won't settle for this season again. He's ambitious. He wants us to push on. And I think he realises that change is needed. The change on the playing staff is needed more than anything, I would suggest. And I think we'll probably see a lot of players go out. The trick or the problem is as he mentions, the financial impact it's got across football and how we might get value for money on some of the players that go out. And because I don't think a lot of them are going to go to the top end of the Premier League where money isn't an object, and teams are owned by countries, so to speak. So I think it's a case of making sure we get the right amount of money. Half of Turkey seems interested in half of our players. So, I think we'll see a lot of people, you had a Janais, etc., go back and play abroad. I think there's decisions to be made on people like Steve Mounier. Is Steve Mounier a top earner? I love Steve Mounier. He's one of my absolute favourites. But does he fit in and does he justify the wage that he's on maybe? And you've got to look at certain things like this. And I'd love him to stay and feed the guy, but we've got to look in who's the manager. The manager, does he think he's going to be a starting striker? Campbell, has he done enough? Are we going to look for another striker? There's all sorts of things in there. There's, when you start to think about it, there's all sorts of repercussions and ways we could go. But I think there's got to be a bit of a broom on the playing side, and I think we're going to see.
I'll be completely honest. I get everything you've said there, Matt. I said, but the only thing that
makes a change.
There's only 3 players that I'll be sorry to see leave this summer. If it happens. Yeah, if it happens. I'd be sorry to see.
Can I have a guess? Can I have a guess at him?
Well, Schindler's got to be one of them, hasn't he?
And Benter. Diakabe. Andy King.
Again. No, I'd be sorry to see O'Brien go because we haven't seen anywhere near best of in a town shirt yet.
Don't be saying that. I don't want him to go. No.
I don't either, but we've got to be realistic that he's one of the few players who we could sell for decent money. So
you would think maybe him or Bakuna, wouldn't you? Would probably go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't be sorry to see Bakuna go. But me 3, obviously O'Brien because of what I've just said, and the other 2, Schindler and Ogg, because of what they've done for the club since they both signed. Both legends in my eyes, and in many others. But I genuinely think, as hard as it is to say, that it's time for them both to seek pastures new and refresh, because I think they've been. There were one picture yesterday, it showed them 2 hugging each other after the game, and you could just see what it meant to them both. And they've been players that we could get behind and we could love.
Ogg's on a long deal though, isn't he? Nearly. Didn't he?
I don't know, but I think they've been.
I think it runs out next year. I think it runs out next year.
I think they've been really hurt by last couple of years, and you can see it in their manner, in their performances. And I just think for their own sake, I think they both need to move on and get a fresh start somewhere. But yeah, they'd be the only 3 that I'd be sad to see go. Everybody else, I'm not bothered, to be honest.
Brady, glad to see the back of this longest season in history.
Yeah, thank God. I think that was just, we just had to get it done, and then we can look forward. I do think there needs to be a lot of change in the summer, like lads said.
That's what those arrows are in the background for, isn't it, Brady? Yeah.
Yeah, going up.
He had them turned down. He had them turned down other way before last night.
Oh yeah, no, sideways as the goals went in up. I agree with Neil. I do wonder with Schindler, if it's best for everyone if he goes somewhere, because I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's taken a real battering, and he's a great player, and like we were talking about mentality, and I think it's really hit him hard, and I wonder if he deserves a fresh start. I think, ultimately it's up to them. I would keep him in the squad. I mean, with Hogg, I do wonder next season if we did keep him, would you play him less and not have him start every game?
Brady, I'll throw this at you though, mate. The only thing I'd say is get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of him. He needs to go. Blah blah blah. We've hardly blessed with a big enough squad as it is, mate. We're going to need to sign double-digit players.
No, and I think
I'm just saying that they're only three. I'd be sad to see go.
Yeah, and I think if we're being honest, we don't know what's going to happen with COVID, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have to keep some players we don't want to keep because we can't get rid of them, and we need the squad depth. So.
I'm thinking maybe as well, Brady, there's an alternative argument as well that, if, hopefully we've stayed up now and that draws a line for people like Schindler and Hogg, and maybe they can come out the other side now and start to, feel a bit more free. There's that side as well. Maybe all of a sudden the relief and the pressure goes from the shoulders, and maybe we see a happier side. And if that's the case, then I'm blocking Leeds Bradford Airport. Schindler's not allowed to go.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want Schindler to stay. I want Hogg to stay. I love Christopher Schindler. Who doesn't? And I want them to.
Heathens. That's who.
Heights they did, but I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. Well, it's going to be a big change in the summer. Cowleys need to stamp their authority on the squad a bit more, and I think it's going to be really interesting. No one knows what the transfer window is going to be like. Like you say, I know we've criticised Grant, but he scored the goals that kept us up, and I think from the outside view, when you talk to other fans, they seem to rate him because all they see is his goal tally. So, I'd definitely sell him, and if we can improve the squad, I'd do that. But there's a lot of questions, we need a keeper, we need a right back, we need a lot of depth.
Get Trev back. I've already told him I'll send a car for him. You know what I mean?
No, I would keep Chalobah, but a lot of changes need to be made,
I think from me though, you get this. We've had so many kick-ins the last 2 seasons, but today's and last night's reminded me why I love Huddersfield Town. I feel proper proud. I was buzzing. I kind of reveled in the fact that we kind of did Leeds a favour, even though people might not agree. It made me realise why I still love them. I still love Huddersfield Town, and I always will till they put me in a coffin at Dewsbury Moor Creme, because it mattered. Me and you, Neil, dancing about under that marquee, for a game that, God, we've won a game. Really, but it's
shades of Bournemouth, Neil. Is that what we're saying? Weatherspoon's Bournemouth. Is that what you're doing? Depeche Mode.
Bloody hell, yeah.
But no. So the Cowley brothers and Dale Marsden looking for that management triple next season.
I know.
So I think we're back after the Millwall game. We're going to come on at 10 o'clock. The game finishes off about 9:20. We'll let Radio Leeds do their thing, and then we'll come on and shall we try and review the season as well, maybe?
We'll do that the week after. Right,
okay. But yeah, I suppose we can talk up. Let's hope we're talking about maybe another joyous day. And you know what? I've nothing against West Brom, but it may be nice to stop Millwall getting into the playoffs. I don't really know their situation today, but it's been quite a ride. But you just love a surprise, and we got it last night as well. So unless there's any more comments, Matt, or anything anyone else wants to add?
Let's have a goose down here. So Ted Chippington says, "Chin up, Neil." Ponty Terry says some of the players West Brom brought off the bench were ridiculous. Yep, imagine that. Brett's retracted a few messages. What's going on?
I
know. I want to know what they are now.
Probably haven't got Brady's arrows, I reckon.
No, I don't think
arrows, guys. I think you're just jealous. That's what it is.
I'm off to buy some from IKEA or wherever you got them from now. But yeah, Craig Vlad says exactly what he's been saying. Nothing wrong with VAR. It's the people that use it. Refereeing standards need improving. And old boys networks get in the way. But yeah, so Terrier 7N2 says, what do you think will happen next season with regards to digital season tickets to watch games on iFollow? But it's I think that's all up in the air, isn't it, at the minute?
Let's hope they're better than Neil's iFollows been. Anyway, Jesus, it's been like watching telepathy news. Like,
Yeah, not yesterday. Yesterday were superb. Telly out in garden.
only a little bit of buffering. It's twice. 3 times a lady. Good song.
We should call it that.
It's been a while since you've sung us out, Kosi, isn't it? So I think with a win, I think you might have to open those vocal cords.
What was singing yesterday, Cos?
Oh, yeah. It was. Oh no! What? Someone please talk before we can kind of lose the way. But it was something about it's gone, man. I'll have to bring it back for Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll think about it. I
think it was something Don Goodman said, and then we just burst into a song and that as well. I like Don Goodman, by the way, even though I think he Leeds and Bradford, in it, but it don't matter. It's a good airport, in it. End of the day, let's look at the positives. Yeah, but no, guys, thanks very much for watching this morning. Hope you have a beautiful Saturday, and just remember, when Huddersfield Town stay up again, ta-ra, ta-ra. God, I'm off. Ciao.